This channel is dedicated to exploring the content of well-known masterpieces in the humanities, sustained by the unwavering interest and support of our subscribers and viewers. Subscriptions, likes, notification settings, and donations greatly encourage the creator in producing new content. Hello everyone. Today, we will take a deeper look at 1984 by George Orwell. George Orwell's 1984, published in 1949, is a dystopian novel that warns of the dangers of totalitarianism and focuses on themes of individual freedom and ideological control. George Orwell 1903-1950 was a British novelist and journalist known for his sharp critiques of social inequality, totalitarianism, and the abuse of power. His best-known works include Animal Farm 1945 and 1984-1949. Orwell dealt extensively with political and social issues, showing deep concern for human freedom and justice. Through his incisive criticism of oppressive regimes and propaganda, 1984 addresses issues such as surveillance, censorship, information manipulation, oppression of the individual, and collectivism, offering a critical reflection on modern political and social systems. Let us now examine in detail the main content, themes, historical context, and literary significance of 1984. 1. Main plot. 1984 is set in the future totalitarian state of Oceania. The story follows Winston Smith, a mid-level party member who works at the Ministry of Truth, under the omnipresent surveillance of Big Brother. The government controls every aspect of life through censorship and constant monitoring. Winston grows increasingly skeptical of the oppressive regime and begins to reject the party's doctrine. He secretly writes in a diary and dreams of rebellion. He forms a clandestine relationship with Julia, and together they attempt to make contact with a secret resistance group known as the Brotherhood. However, they cannot escape the party's surveillance. Their rebellion is discovered, and Winston is arrested by O'Brien, a high-ranking party official. O'Brien subjects him to interrogation and torture, forcing him to undergo ideological re-education and absolute submission to Big Brother. Ultimately, Winston loses his free will and personal beliefs, and in the end, he comes to love Big Brother. 2. Major themes: totalitarianism and dictatorship. The central theme of 1984 is the warning against totalitarian rule. Oceania is a society where everything is controlled by the party and Big Brother. Free thought is a crime, and truth is rewritten at the will of the regime. Orwell emphasizes the threat posed by a system that destroys human dignity and freedom. Surveillance and individual freedom. Oceania is a quintessential surveillance state. Telescreens monitor every citizen, violating privacy and restricting personal freedom. Even thoughts are controlled, and Winston must hide his diary and his meetings with Julia. Manipulation of truth and language. The concept of doublethink requires citizens to accept contradictory ideas simultaneously, such as war is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength. Newspeak, the official language, limits expression and eliminates words that could enable rebellious thought. Orwell underscores how language can become a tool of oppression. Individual versus collective. Winston symbolizes the individual struggling to maintain identity and free will against a powerful collective. Ultimately, the individual is crushed by the system. The nature of power. O'Brien explains that power is not a means but an end. The party rules not to achieve something, but for the sake of domination itself. The ultimate goal is complete control of the human mind. 3. Character analysis. Winston Smith. Winston represents human free will and individual identity. Though he attempts to resist, he is ultimately defeated by the system, symbolizing the powerlessness of the individual under totalitarian rule. Julia. Julia rebels in a pragmatic, personal way rather than an ideological one. She seeks personal freedom and pleasure while outwardly conforming. Her resistance also ultimately collapses under the system's pressure. O'Brien. A dedicated party loyalist, O'Brien manipulates, betrays, and reconditions Winston. He fully embodies the party's ideology and the ruthless logic of power. Big Brother. Big Brother may not even exist physically, but he symbolizes absolute authority and surveillance. His image instills both fear and devotion in citizens. 4. Historical context. The Cold War and Anti-Totalitarianism. Written after World War II and during the early Cold War, 1984. Reflects Orwell's concerns about regimes like Nazi Germany and Stalinist Russia. The novel draws parallels to Soviet propaganda, censorship, and political purges. Fascism and Stalinism. Orwell was deeply critical of fascist and Stalinist systems, and their influence is evident throughout the novel. He warns how such governments manipulate truth and suppress freedom. 5. Symbols and motifs. Big Brother. A symbol of omnipresent power and surveillance. Big Brother represents the weaponization of fear and authority. Today, the term is widely used to criticize excessive government surveillance. Doublethink. A method of mental control where contradiction becomes truth. Modern parallels can be found in political propaganda and media manipulation. Telescreen. A symbol of pervasive surveillance and loss of privacy, foreshadowing modern concerns about technology-driven monitoring. Newspeak. A language designed to eliminate dissent by restricting thought itself. Orwell highlights the profound relationship between language and freedom. 6. Influence on modern society. 1984 continues to resonate in the digital era. With today's surveillance technologies, concerns about privacy, data collection, and state control echo Orwell's warnings. Digital surveillance. Governments and corporations track browsing data, location information, and online behavior. This mirrors Oceana's invasive monitoring, fake news, and manipulated information. Just as the party rewrites history, today's misinformation spreads rapidly through digital platforms. Critique of authoritarianism. Orwell's insights apply to modern authoritarian systems that restrict freedom and manipulate truth. 7. Connections to other works by Orwell. Animal Farm. This allegorical novel critiques Stalinist Russia, depicting how revolutions can devolve into new forms of tyranny. Like 1984, it examines the corrupting nature of power. Homage to Catalonia. Based on Orwell's experiences in the Spanish Civil War, this work deeply influenced his later critiques of totalitarianism. He witnessed firsthand how political factions used propaganda and repression. Conclusion. George Orwell's 1984 is a work that contains profound insight and a warning against totalitarianism, centered on the contemplation of human freedom and dignity. The novel explores the complex relationship between the individual and the collective, power and truth, surveillance and liberty, convincingly communicating its dangers to the reader. Orwell's 1984 does not merely remain a dystopian fantasy, but encompasses a deep reflection on the nature of power and humanity. It reveals the miserable reality an individual can face in a totalitarian society, and how the human spirit can be oppressed within it. Furthermore, through this novel, Orwell warns of the threats that freedom of the press, issues of surveillance, and the abuse of power can pose to modern society. The dystopian society Orwell presented was born from the historical context of its time, but it continues to deliver a meaningful message today, requiring critical reflection, especially regarding digital age surveillance, information manipulation, and the rise of authoritarian political systems. Therefore, while 1984 holds high literary value in itself, it is also closely connected to various issues in modern society, cementing its position as a timeless classic. Subscribing, liking, setting up notifications, and making donations greatly support the operator's content creation efforts. Thank you for watching.